During this class, we are going to learn how to use the Laravel mutators and accessors. The Laravel mutators are basically methods that we can create in our models in order to modify the value of an attribute before to be inserted in the database. And the Laravel accessors are methods, again, in our models that allow us to modify the value of an attribute before to return it but after obtaining it from the database. It means that the mutators modify the original value while the accessors do not modify it, only return a variation but do not modify directly the attribute value. For this, we are just going to specify the mutator and the accessor for the name of a user and the mutator for the email of a user. Currently, if we go to our database, and obtain the list of the names and emails from the users, we can see that inside the database we have a combination of capital letters. Let's define first the mutator and the accessor for the name. Let's go to our user model, and there we are going to define the mutator for the name. As you can see, the mutators are public functions that start with set, then the name of the attribute, and finally the attribute word. Now we need to modify directly the value of the attribute. So we are going to say that the name in the list of attributes is going to be equals to this name, the name that we receive as a parameter. Automatically, Laravel is going to call the setNameAttribute function every time that we are establishing a value for the name attribute at all. And then for the accessor, we just need to change set for get, and instead of assigning a value, we are returning a modification of the value but without assigning. So what we are going to do with the name is just transform the name, making every word in the name using capital letter. And finally, we are going to create a mutator for the email. So you are maybe asking why it is required. Well, in fact, we need to perform any specific transformation over the name for the mutators. In this case, we are just going to change everything to lowercase, and the same case for email. So in this way, every time that we are going to establish a value for the name or the email, it is going to automatically be transformed to lowercase. And when we are going to obtain the name, we are transforming every word in the name for capital letter. So if we run again our migrations and our seeds, we can see how the structure inside the database is going to be now everything in lowercase because we are doing that. And although we do that, when we obtain the name, it is going to keep basically the same. So let's just see first the structure of the database. We can see now that everything is in lowercase, but if we go to Postman and check the users, we can see that the names are being returned using capital letters for every word. So this is the best way to show how to use mutators and accessors in any model. Of course, you are completely free to use mutators and accessors in any other model that you need, but as you can imagine, we don't want to specify any kind of restriction over the format of the name and description for the categories or products, etc., because it's probable that some descriptions, some names, are going to use different cases for that values. So we are done now. See you in the next class.